Welcome to the Breeders' Cup Challenge Pick Six preview show. And my guests here, Ellis Starr and Seminar Skip, joining me. Ellis, welcome from Kentucky. And we've got a brand new bet to unveil tomorrow, and it should be very exciting for the players.
No, it's fantastic. I've been following it. I'm good friends with Keeneland's director of wagering and player development, Jim Goodman. I know he had a hand in this, as did all the great staff at Santa Anita and Pete Rotundo. He used to work for Breeders' Cup, and it's great to have it. And these are some fantastic races we're going to be looking at in this sequence.
Yeah, plenty of terrific races, stakes races, and always nice, Skip, when we have the dollar pick six and the player-friendly 15% takeout to boot.
Yes, we love it. I'm so glad they came up with this bet, and the dollar bet and the low takeout with the good racing, like Ellis said. And I'm telling you, there's a couple races that are real challenging, but it's going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully we could get lucky and pick a winning ticket.
We're basically combining three of these stakes races at Keeneland with three races at Santa Anita. And let's get it started. Ellis, since we're starting with Keeneland, let's start off with you. The first leg of the pick six will be Keeneland Race 7, which is the Thoroughbred Club of America 6 furlongs, grade 2 on the main track. What are your thoughts here in the first leg?
It's a really good race. The race goes through the two favorites, Wicked Halo 1 and Uguri the 6. And they really, for top filly and mare sprinters in this division, this is a win you're in for the Breeders' Cup filly and mare sprint, of course. They really hadn't faced each other until last month at Churchill Downs in the Open Mind Stakes. And Uguri was sent off at 2-5. Wicked Halo 2-5. But Uguri prevailed by 3 lengths. And it was pretty much a career best effort for her. Flavien Prat had ridden her for the second time, and boy, he's having a hot last couple of months, no matter where he's riding. And it was at this 6 furlong trip. She wasn't much of a graded stakes runner at the level previously. She was more known for routing. She won the Fantasy Stakes as a 3-year-old in April of 2022. And she was off from May to December, came back, and everything's been sprint since. And that last race was really good. She opens at 2-1. Wicked Halo is 8 for 16. She really doesn't need any talking up. Yeah, she did disappoint, but she won the Raven Run Stakes for 3-year-olds only last year at Keeneland in the fall. But this actually a couple of weeks to the day to this race, and she's in really good form. The horse I think is interesting here. The one I'm gonna go 3 deep in the pick six, and the horse I'm hoping wins is the 5 Happy Soul. And of course, today was opening day at Keeneland, and John Velasquez, I didn't say he put on a clinic, but he showed some of the youngins something today. He rode a couple of fantastic races. He's not feeling his age at all, not that he's that old. But the guy's in a Hall of Fame for a reason. Happy Soul's really interesting. When you look at her past performances, her last 4 races were on grass. They were only so-so, third, second, fourth, going back to April. She was off 6 months before that. But she ran second in this race last year when a horse named Slam went wire to wire. And she was 5-1 then with Johnny Up. And early in her career, she's only run 13 times. In her third career start, she won the Astoria Stakes at Belmont in the spring of 2021. And then she won the Dixie-Belle at Oaklawn the following February off a layoff. She's got the goods. What's interesting is blinkers go on. And she hasn't worn blinkers since those 2 wins really early in her career. And when I look at all the other horses in this 7-horse field, there's no speed. If the blinkers do what they can do, and it looks like they will with the 59 and change 5 furlong workout at Keeneland 5 days ago. I'm sure not say 5 days ago, a couple weeks ago. I think she can run well at 8-1. So my top pick's the 5 Happy Soul for the value. And on my ticket, I'm going to go 5-6-1.
So 5-6-1 for Ellis and Skip. A horse I was going to ask you about, see if you thought anything of it. Another horse going from turf to dirt is the 4 Static Fire, who's actually proven 2 for 2 on the dirt. Are you using that horse in the sequence at all, or are you sticking with what Ellis is looking at?
I'm going to go 5 deep in here. I'm going to use the 3 that Ellis was talking about, and I'm going to use the 4 that you just mentioned. Like you said, it's 2 for 2 on a dirt fast track. It's 1-for-1 over the Keeneland surface, which I always give bonus points to. When they like Keeneland, I like that they like it. So I like that it's going turf to dirt. You know, Brian Lynch has good numbers with everything, but going from turf to dirt, he wins 32% of the time. And so the 4 is definitely going to be on my ticket. And I'm also going to use the 2 also, Fire on Time. This horse, they gave it a little prep race. It looked like September 16th at Churchill Downs. It's 1-for-1 over Keeneland. It likes to win. It's got 12 starts, 6 wins on the main track, dirt fast main track. So I'm going to use the 2 also. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. You know, I leaving 2 horses out, but I don't think either one of those 2 could win. So we'll see what happens.
So a little bit of Spreadsville for both of you. And Ellis has a nice 8-1 on top. We've got a couple other races later in the sequence. Look like it could get a little chalky, so it'll be interesting if we can get some prices along the way. Second leg of the pick 6 is the Chandelier, which goes as race 3, 1 mile and a 16th for 2-year-old fillies. And Skip, a little bit tricky here because only one horse has ever gone 2 turns here, which is the 5 Autumn Chill. What are your thoughts here?
I'm going to go 5 deep in here. I love the fact that Autumn Chill, will start with her, since she's already won at 1 mile. I know the time is not good, 1:41 and 1. That's very slow, but I like the way that she did it. I know they went fast up front early, and she DeSormo kind of rode the rail on the turn, swung out, and she just motored by those other horses. So at 5-1, Autumn Chill, who's already won at this distance, is going to be on my ticket. I'm also going to add the 2, Scalable. Todd Pletcher shifts his horse in. You know, it had 1 race. In my notes, it said it looked like it needed a race. Money Mike Smith jumps aboard, and I think this horse will really appreciate, stretching out. Obviously, Pletcher's numbers, second time out, 25%. Sprinter route, 21%. So the 2 is going to be on my ticket. The one that I know that you like also is the 6, Gate to Paradise. This horse, I've been waiting for it to stretch out. It's got 2 sprints now going to a route, but the last race was very interesting. They put it in the Grade 1 Del Mar Debutante. This horse was in a good position on the turn, and then DeSormo gave it a couple chirps, and it didn't look like it was going anywhere. And it almost looked at one point to me like maybe he was going to pull the horse up or ease it. But once it got outside, it kicked on again, and he never really asked it. He chirped it a couple more times. This horse ran on, and I think it will really enjoy the stretch out. I like the way that she finished. On XBTV, I watched the last work on the 30th, and I really like the way that horse worked. So at 5-1, Gate to Paradise is going to be my top play. I'm also going to use the Baffert. This horse won first time out in a dead heat. Then the second time in the Grade 3 Sorrento. Kind of got outfooted, at which nobody thought that it would. That Dreamfire horse shipping in from up north was really fast. I got to use this horse. And then the interesting one where I kept going back and forth. Do I put the 8 Laurent on my ticket or not? You know, the first time out, it was off slow. It had like a little rough beginning. The horses kind of pinched him at the start. Was way back, got up in the last final jump. Very game effort, finished strong, galloped out well. Then the last time, the jockey Maldonado had it in the middle of the racetrack. I mean, all the horses you watched the head on, this horse was in the middle of the track, really, really wide, all the way down the backstretch and even on the turn. And it just was very strange to me. They're putting blinkers on maybe to try to show a little more speed, but I don't know. It almost runs to me like a late running sprinter. And so that's why I went back and forth. But I did like the last race against Tamara, who's a freak. She is just something special, I think. And she ran second, and she actually, Laurent galloped out real good too that day. So maybe she wants to go on. I don't know. I have my questions. I was going to leave her off, and I said, no, I'm going to put her on and go lighter in the ticket late. So I'm going to use the 2, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Before I get to you, Ellis, I have to tell Skip as well. I did a podcast last night with the In the Money Media folks, and my top pick too was Gate to Paradise. If you go back and watch that, like you said on the turn, it was very bizarre. Like you said, it looked like Kent had just wrapped up, and the horse was going to fade into back to 6th or 7th. And then it looked like if he would have just kept riding, he might have ran second. It was very odd. And I like you loved that work on the 30th on XBTV. Big long strides. This horse looks like it wants to go all day long, and I think this horse is going to move very forward. And I'm kind of against Dua. I did not like the maiden win, that whole field, and I think this is one, Ellis, where we can maybe beat the favorite and catch a price here. What say you about the 3rd at Santa Anita?
Yeah, I've left Dua off. I'll talk about that because I mean, every race, whether you're playing a pick six or not, you've got to go through the two favorites, and Dua and Laurent, and Dua is 3-1. And I don't really like a horse coming into a race like this off a 3rd place finish, stretching out with other horses that were up close to fast pace because of speed. The 7 post doesn't lend itself as good to getting that lead. When I get to some other horses, you'll see why. Just nothing special about it, even though the Dams other 2 foals both won routes. I agree with what Skip said about Laurent, but I'm going to leave Laurent in because the pattern is good. She does have the best 2 Equibase speed figures in the field, 82, 84. She's certainly bred to run a lot better stretching out. She's going to be a deep closer, but blinkers maybe are the intention to get her to be closer up. So, she was too far back, and maybe this time that will help. I was between Gate to Paradise and Autumn Chill on my 2nd pick. I haven't got to my top one yet because I wonder why DeSormo's getting off for his brother, Autumn Chill, to ride Gate to Paradise. And I get what you both say about Gate to Paradise, but again, I don't like a 3rd place finish, even if it was the debutante. So I'm not using it. I'm going to use Autumn Chill. I get no problem with Barrios getting on. Constitution, of course, is a real sire. I did a Racelands run for 2-year-olds, dirt route stakes. Constitution's had 9 different horses run 2-year-old dirt route stakes in the last 5 years. 5 different winners, including Epicenter. So this one is definitely a 2-turn horse. My top pick is Scalable, the 2. And I like the horse yesterday when I handicapped before even today. What Pletcher's doing is he's shipping horses out of New York to not run in the 1-turn races, the Champagne and Frisette. Because historically, when you're going to run in the 2-turn Breeders' Cup races at most tracks, you want 2-turn experience. I don't say he's finally discovered it. I think he's discovered it. He shipped a horse named Candied in to Keeneland today, and she won the Darley Alcibiades Stakes. Granted, it was off a win, but it was really no different. He shipped Scalable in off what I consider to be a fantastic sprinter route running line because she's 4th a length back, 3rd a length back, 5th 2 back, 5th 3 back. 45 and 3, that's about 46 seconds. She can have the lead or she could be off the pace. You just never know. She's by Speightstown, who produces a lot of route winners, and the 3rd horse came back to win at Smith Ride. So my top pick, Scalable. In this ticket, I'm going to use 258 Scalable, Autumn Chill, and Laurent.
Well, interesting 2nd leg, especially because we have some question marks about the morning line favorite Laurent, and we definitely have some question marks about the 7 Dua, who I think will go off as the favorite. All right, so we move on to the 3rd leg. Ellis, back to you, and we are back to Keeneland for the Claiborne Breeders' Futurity. We are going 1 1/16, and I had heard that I believe from Nick Tamarando that, and you tell me this, Ellis, if you heard this, that Timberlake will be scratched. Now,
yeah, I saw somebody tweeted my comment when I tweeted this out about my blog that Cox may not run, and I hadn't heard that. I haven't read too much today because I was at track all day, but it's possible. I mean, Cox scratched one of his 2 today out of the Alcibiades, but I hadn't heard that specifically. I'm assuming no, but you never know. I don't know what the plan was if the horse does scratch to go in another race. He isn't cross-entered as far as I know into something else, but it is tough to beat the Cox horses. But let me talk about the favorite first. You got 9 locked. There's Pletcher again, shipping out of New York, and he won a mile at Saratoga. The mile, of course, is the Wilson Chute, which is like a hook. It's like Ellis Park. So it's basically not 2 turns, like a turn and a half. So it's pretty good. He's got really high figures on any scale. They're not the best in the race on the Equibase scale, which is interesting. So I'm a little, I'm a little concerned about the 7-5, but the public's probably going to follow suit. And for pick six, I'm not going to try and beat him. The two Cox horses, Timberlake and Awesome Road, look, cuts down the size of the ticket if they don't run. Awesome Road has what I call an identical pattern to a horse we all know who won this race 2 years ago, named Essential Quality for Brad Cox. He won a sprint at Ellis Park. He shipped in second time out, second time lifetime, boom. And we all know what he did after that. It was a powerful win. He was flattered by the second and fourth horses coming back to win. And his dam is an AP Indy mare that has produced a bunch of route winners. So Awesome Road is my top pick. Timberlake I would use because I can't use only one of the two Brad Cox horses. If he scratches, great. He's taking blinkers off as he stretches out off a second in the Hopeful. The race was a little bit slow late. I was talking to Roberto today from El Portero Roberto. It was late, but he still might use the position with Giroux to get good position. I'm using the Wine Steward, undefeated. He's a New York bred. He beat New York breds 6 furlongs in the Funny Side Stakes, but he ran really fast. He got 96 Equibase speed figure, which is faster than 91 Locke got breaking his maiden, and faster than 93 Awesome Road got in his win. Luis Saez is back from injury. He rode fantastically well today. I think he won one, but he rode really aggressively. And Maker's 25% sprint to route. This is the first crop of Vino Rosso, Breeders' Cup Classic winner. So no question, I think the horse can get a mile on 16th and even more than that. So in order, my picks are 3 Awesome Road, 2 Timberlake, 1 Wine Steward, and 9 Locked. Certainly if Locked wins, it's going to be not a great ticket with some of the chalk coming up after this. But I think Awesome Road may be really tough on this pattern.
It does seem to get a little chalkier after this, Skip. Ellis is a bit against Locked. Will use. Who's your top play in here, and who else are you using in the sequence?
My top play is going to be the Wine Steward. I really liked all 3 races for this undefeated colt. First time out at Belmont, it ran really good and just ended up drawing off on the inside and just went by 6 lengths. And once it lengthened its stride, this horse is good. And then it came back at Ellis Park and won nicely again. And the most impressive race, I think, was the last one, the Funny Side. It didn't stumble real badly, but it took a couple bad steps to, have it back. It broke from the outside post to 6, so it was wide then. Turn It for Home, it was wide. I didn't think this horse had any shot after the start. And sure enough, Manny Franco just kind of angled this horse to the inside to the horse that was in front that was leading the whole way just to give it some competition. And this horse, I put in the notes, this undefeated colt wants to beat you. I mean, he just stuck his nose out, lengthened that stride. He knew that horse was there and he was not going to lose that race. Considering the trouble and the wide trip, I really like it. It's stretching out, but stretching out shouldn't be a problem. I love the inside draw. I love the price, and Luis Saez gets back aboard that won second time out with it. So the Wine Steward's going to be my top play. I didn't use Awesome Road. I like Timberlake, but if they scratch Timberlake, Ellis talked me into Awesome Road. So I'm going to go 3 deep here. I'm going to go the Wine Steward, Timberlake, or Awesome Road if they scratch Timberlake. And I'm going to throw Locked on the ticket too. I don't like the price. I don't really like the outside draw. But first time out, this horse had a lot of trouble. It had a real tough trip. Came running, got third, but it kind of was like a sneaky trip. Unless you're watching the races and stuff, it just looked like it came on. It didn't look that impressive. But with the trouble that I saw and put on my notes, I put this on I said, bet back. Of course, everybody saw it too because it was a heavy favorite last time. Yeah. Showed more speed and it was that one turn mile at Saratoga and just drew off and won very nicely. But at 7-5, I usually try to beat those stretching out to 2 turns on the first time, especially with the outside draw.
Well, let's hope we get the wine steward in because all three of us will be using that on the ticket at an 8-1 in the morning line, and it not being trained by Brad Cox or Todd Pletcher. I think we're going to get a price there, so that would be awfully nice. And I'm going to come right back to you, Ellis, for the next leg, which is back to Keeneland, the Coolmore Turf Mile. And does this race go through just the one Master of Seas up to the mark? Too deep there, or do you have some other horses that might be some prices? I got a feeling those two horses are going to get bet, especially a Charlie Appleby horse on the rail and up to the mark, hasn't ran since June, but in terrific form.
Yeah, I originally, I started with a cut, so I cut some of the horses that had no shot, 6, 7, 8, 2, 3, and I'm left with Master of the Seas, up to the mark, as you mentioned, Annapolis, who won the race last year, and Set Piece, who just won the Arlington Million. And then I started looking for, these are the 4 Grade 1 winners, by the way. And that's Grade 1 winners in Grade 1 races, unless there's some reason to really put a horse in here. And then started looking and thinking about. So Master of the Seas shipped to North America and won the Rico Woodbine Mile, which is a pretty tough race to win, even though this year it had 6 horses in it. Very, very impressively, because he just powered away from 4th to 1st and then galloped off. Before that, he won a Group 2 race, which in my opinion, a Group 2 race at Royal Ascot is a Grade 1 race in the U.S. And he beat 7 other horses and won by 4 there under James Doyle, who's coming into ride now. And the question always is, since he's already qualified for the Breeders' Cup Mile, okay, is this just, you can lose the race. It's not going to affect you. You can finish second. Or do they do it? And I was having a conversation with somebody. They reminded me, these guys don't run for second. Appleby and Godolphin just don't run for second. There's just it's not in their wheelhouse. And I don't have the number now, but every race I've handicapped for various blogs this year with Appleby the last 5 years, something like 19 for 30. And they're all Grade 1 races on the turf, and he just doesn't mess around. So I'm going to single Master of the Seas. I could certainly see people using Set Piece, who has 3 wins at a mile and comes off the Arlington Million, up to the mark, as you said, hasn't been seen since June. Annapolis, who won the race last year, and you can toss his race out of Kentucky Downs. For anybody listening, that race, I watched it twice. I was there, and then I watched it again. He had a bad check, and it cost him everything. He almost stumbled. I mean, I don't say fell, but he lost every piece of momentum he had with about 1/8 of a mile to go. And before that, he ran second in the 4-Star Dave and in the Kelso, both to Casa Creed, who aren't here. So I could see using last year's winner, but I want to keep this ticket fairly reasonable. It's going to be 108. So I'm going to single the one.
Singling the one there, Skip, and nothing wrong with that. Charles Appleby and the Master of the Seas, ran a huge race. Skip, are you singling here, or are you going to spread as well?
Yeah, like Ellis Starr, like he said, they're not coming to run for second. When they enter their horses, they're aiming to win the race. And this horse is very sharp. These last 2 races were very good. I was going to try. I'm a big fan of Up to the Mark, but coming off the break, I don't know. I got a single somewhere, and I really, really have been impressed with these last 2 races of Master of the Seas. So this is going to be my single.
All right,
we're living or dying with him. hopefully living to go live in the next year.
Yeah.
We might have to make it all 3 of us, because I wasn't sure what to do in there. And like we said, we might catch some prices early on, which is what we're kind of hoping for. Because what do you guys think Master of the Seas is going to go off? Somewhere around 6 to 5, 7 to 5, Ellis?
Well, you look at his last race, he was 2 to 5 in a 6-horse field. Now he's got a 9-horse field. It's going to be 4 to 5, 3 to 5, probably, even though, Annapolis will take a little money, as will Up to the Market Set Piece, but definitely less than even money.
All right, so odds on there. So we maybe could hopefully catch some prices with our last two legs. Very interesting race here in race 8, which is the 5th leg, the Rodeo Drive. The very impressive Anisette, who is facing older, going longer. deep closer and a turf course that we know at least last weekend played much towards speed, but boy, was she visually impressive. What are your thoughts here in this field?
Like you said, she's been visually impressive all three starts. She's going against older, which I don't think is going to be a problem at all. The only problem is there's no speed in the race. Due to that fact, I got to use the one. I mean, I think the one's the only horse that's got, a couple Niche Blanche, a couple of these other ones have speed, but not the speed that Turn Her Loose. If I was a trainer, Turn Her Loose, I would just say, go. You get the lead. You just rush out of there. Nobody's going to go. Take hold and go as far as you can. I think that horse could be really sneaky, loose on the lead. And I got to use the one at 6-1. Anna Said is definitely going to be on my ticket too, because she's been so impressive. I'm just going 1-2 here. I tried to make a case for Didia, and she's done nothing wrong. On the grass, she's had 10 starts, 8 wins in a second. She comes off a second place, to a Chad Brown horse, and McCulloch, his other horse, came back to win out of there. But I just shipping in. I'm going to try to beat this one. It's the morning line favorite. I'm going 1-2, and hopefully the one could just go to the front and just go wire to wire.
I do agree, Ellis, when I get to you 1 second, that there is not much pace. But my one thought in here, and we'll get your thoughts on Didia as well, is that the horse who has changed styles a bit since from the spring to the fall is Closing Remarks. Closing Remarks used to kind of sit back and make one run. In her last 2 starts, especially 2 back off the bench, now maybe she was just a little bit fresh, she seems a little bit more tactical. So I think with no pace, she is going to sit much closer and get first run on Anisette and Didia. So I thought Closing Remarks was very interesting because I do think she's going to be much closer. It isn't so needing a fast pace, sit back and make one run. She's kind of changed her style as she's gotten older. Ellis, what are your thoughts on this race? And am I full of it with those remarks on Closing Remarks?
No, I don't. I mean, I think Turner Loose is going to go. She's going to get the rail, and and certainly I have every respect for skipping his ticket. One of my mentor, the late Dick Mitchell, used to say, "Class laughs at pace on turf," and so the problem with Turner Loose is she's run well. I mean, on dirt, she won the Rachel Alexander as a 3-year-old last year, Alexandra, and her last race was pretty good. She couldn't beat Closing Remarks in 2 straight. I'm going to go with the 2 favorites and then a price. I'm going to start with the price horse. On the outside, and people are going to laugh at me. You guys are welcome to. Symphony Perfect at 20-1 is an incredibly interesting horse. This horse is owned by, if you look down the owner line, Next Wave Racing, Magnier, and Shanahan. Well, that's Magnier. That's Coolmore. Okay, she came here from the UK. She was trained by Hugo Palmer. She didn't have that great of a record. She had 2 wins in 20 races. But she came here, I guess, ostensibly first to run on Lasix, and she won her 3rd U.S. start at a mile on Lasix. But then off the short layoff, the Oceanitas, I watched that race. And I was so intrigued. She was dead last, even entering the stretch. So a little more than 1/8 to go. And just in all kinds of traffic. And she got beat a length and 3/4. And the winner won by 1. Then she comes back in the CTT TOC at a mile and 3/8, 11 furlongs. And she had absolutely no room until the 16th pole, and Hernandez knew she had no shot and never asked her at all, and she closed up to be beaten 2 3/4. I can't say she's a miler. She's never run a mile. She did run a couple of really interesting Group 3 races last year in 2022 against older when she was a 3-year-old, 5th of 12, 6th of 15, which weren't bad, but Cedillo had ridden her in the Oceanias. I just get the feeling, I know there's no pace, believe me, but I just get the feeling that this horse is not here for no reason, for a good trainer, Mike McCarthy. And yeah, I'll tell you for sure, I'm definitely going to Boxer and Exactas with Anisette, Turner Loose, Closing Remarks, Didia probably, and probably a win bet. But she's the horse I'm definitely using in addition to the other two. Nothing I could say about Anisette hasn't been said. She ran the last eighth in 11-1 last time out, just smoking into a fairly slow pace. She's improved in all three races: 92, 99, 100 equibase figures. Didia Nacho, his name is Ignacio Nacho Correas, just won a race at Keeneland today. This horse doesn't carry her track around with her. She's won at 2 tracks in Argentina. She won at Colonial. She won at Fairgrounds. She won at Churchill. She almost won at New York when the winner had an easy lead at Chad Brown trainee. She beat McCulloch, who's a really nice horse who came back to run second in the Glens Falls and the Flower Bowl. And so Didia's a nice horse. You get no value there. So I'm going 2, 6, 8. But I'm really hoping for the 8. So you said we get some prices early, hopefully, because of the chalk. I'm hoping to get a price here because of the chalk. As I know Skip is with Turner Loose at 6-1, that would also open up the ticket.
Well, Ellis, I got to tell you, Symphony Perfect is on my horse to watch list, and I saw everything that you saw those last 2 races. Michael McCarthy's a good buddy of mine. I wanted to use it on the ticket, and maybe I'll add late, but I just the distance seemed a little bit of a question mark for me. But gosh, it had all that trouble last time and got loose late and made that run. Yeah. So you might have talked me into throwing that horse on the ticket.
I know. I'm thinking about that. It's not like he's telling us a 6-1 shot. This horse is going to be 30, 40 to 1. So
probably 15. I think probably 15 because she was 9-2 in the restricted stakes. But yeah, she'll be ignored because the lines don't look that good. And certainly the cutback from 11 furlongs to 10, I think, makes her even a better closer. The question is how slow she's going to have to close into. And she might have to close into like a 1:15, 6 furlong fractions. I don't know if that's going to do her any good.
Well, let's hope you guys both have a couple of prices in there. And one thing back to Anisette, I don't know how big, some people are big on gallop out, some not, and distances and whatnot. But if you go back and watch both the last 2 races for Anisette, not only did she power away, she galloped out about 20 in front both times. And the sky seems to be the limit as far as talent with her. But facing older, going a little bit longer, should be very interesting. The acid test should come tomorrow. All right, we move on to the last leg. And we got a mile and a 16th, the American Pharoah Skip Muth, who's been terrific. Is this a single here to close out, or do you have any prices here that we can add in? Because it almost looks like this is going to be a lot of people single even money on the morning line. What are your thoughts here to close out the pick 6?
I do have a price horse. Muth will be very tough. I mean, that first race was, broke his mane like a star. I mean, that's what I put. Really good. Last time looked like it was going good and got beat by the other Baffert, that came back and won the Del Mar Futurity. It will be in front, but I'm really intrigued with number 8, El Magnifico. This horse, I bet it both times. It's green. Last time, I thought I was down at Del Mar during this when it ran, and it was loaded on the backside and made this wide move. DeSormo kind of took it out on the turn and made this run, turning for home. It was lugging in a little bit, still looked a little bit green. The gallop out was good. This horse has got a big stride on him, and I've been waiting for them to stretch this horse out. Which makes me nervous is I'm only going 2 deep. That's all I could afford on the ticket, and it was Muth with one of the 2 DeSormos. And I like the 8 better than I like the 3, but Kent jumps off the 8 to go to the 3. So I'm hoping he's wrong and I'm right. I love Hector Berrios. I think the stretch out is going to do this horse a world of good. So I'm going 2, who's going to be in front, Muth, and 8, El Magnifico. This horse wants 2 turns. It's got a big, long stride. It's a beautiful horse, and I think that horse has got a shot in here.
15-1. There's nothing wrong with Hector Berrios. And one thing we can say about a trainer like that, we know their patterns, how they work. Keith DeSormo, very patient horseman, 2 sprints to a route. They seem to get better as they go longer. He takes his time with them. So nothing wrong with the price there. I have a price. Ellis, I'm going to head to you, and then I'll come back and see if any of us are on the same page with a long shot I'm going to throw in here along with Muth.
Well, now we're talking about, I mean, I made the case for Scalable, and I really wanted to make the case in the Chandelier. I wanted to make a case for BU, who is also a Rapoli stable owned, Pletcher trained horse shipping out to run 2 turns to get ready for the Breeders' Cup. And Raging Torrent a little bit, but Scalable is the interesting one because what happens today with Pletcher and Candide and the Darcy Alcibiades at Keeneland. And I was just checking really quick to see by any chance if these two happen to work together, and they did. Scalable worked third best of 51 on the 30th September on the train track at Saratoga. BU worked 39th of 51, but I think they worked in company. Scalable's got the only horse. BU's got the only horse that has numbers like Muth. So what I'm hoping is, by the way, if Timberlake scratches, and then I'm going to use Muth and BU. So I'm not hedging, but I'm letting the world know that'll be my ticket. If Timberlake scratches, I will use Muth and BU. Otherwise, it's Muth, not because it's Baffert, because this horse is by Good Magic out of an Uncle Mo mare, and Good Magic, my gosh, is he not putting out quality stakes horses? 10 of his 17 horses that have run Dirt Route Stakes have won. 10 different horses, including Mage, including a nice horse named Scotland that won the 1.8 Curlin. And you're right, Prince of Monaco was something special in the Best Pal. You just really put it to him. But Muth was still 4 clear for the next horse. So my ticket for now is to single Muth. I think he has the lead. I think he's going to love the stretch out to 2 turns. I think he's got the breeding to just be a tremendous horse. And if Timberlake scratches and I can cut my ticket, then I'll use the 6 BU.
All right, so Skip is 2.8, Ellis is 2.6. The horse I'm looking at that I think is interesting, just based off of workouts only, is a horse that Ellis just happened to mention. The 4 Wind Me Up, who actually the last 2 works on XBTV has worked with Prince of Monaco, and I thought got the better of Prince of Monaco both times. So there's nothing wrong with having. We've seen this story a million times, guys. The 2 Bafferts and the longer of the 2 wins.
Yeah.
And at 12-1 stretching out, the way this horse is working, another Vino Rosso that you mentioned as well earlier, that I'm going to take my shot in there and use the 4 Wind Me Up at a big giant price for Bob Baffert, the other Bob Baffert here in the last leg. So we all have a price to go along with Muth. So we probably just put Muth in the winner's circle, who's going to win by 5 at 2-5. Ellis, any last thoughts before we wrap it up here?
No, I just think this is a fantastic bet. Of everybody puts in some ticket, a low takeout, and there's definitely a couple singles on the ticket. Keeneland and Sandy are working together for this bet is tremendous, and I'm pleased as punch. It's going to be so much fun to watch these great races and everyone with the big Breeders' Cup implications.
Skipper?
Yeah, I'm excited about tomorrow. I love Keeneland. I love Santa Anita. I love that they put these 2 together in this new bet. I'm looking forward to tomorrow and Sunday, and I'm really looking forward to the Breeders' Cup here in a month out. I'm so excited about it all. Great racing, and hopefully our work comes out on top, and we get lucky and make some money. Ellis talked me into a few horses that I wasn't going to use. I was thinking about using, so he might have made my ticket a little bit more expensive than it was.
You would have done it without my little additional comments. If they were on your list, you probably would have thought about adding them to the ticket.
Well, exciting times for sure, especially with the Breeders' Cup coming up. But it's nice to have these 2 worlds collide here with the Pick 6, especially at $1, especially with the 15% takeout. So thank you, gentlemen. Everybody, good luck. Have a winning day tomorrow and enjoy the races. And we'll see you again shortly. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thanks, everybody.